outlets, check the windows to make sure that they're working, check the doors, look at the electrical panel, crawl up underneath the house, see what's going on. And I felt like I was a fairly good kind of inspector. I ended up getting deployed, and when I got back from that deployment, I decided that I was getting older and I didn't really want to crawl up underneath the houses every day. So I kind of went a little different route, but that training really kind of opened my eyes to things that you're looking at. And one of the things that we as investors do, it's really easy to walk through a house and do a quick visual, because you could see, I need to replace that window, I need to replace that light switch, I got a kitchen that looks, really bad, I need to make it look good, I need to open this wall, I need new lights. The things that you can't see are generally underneath the house, behind drywall, and they could become very big problems for you. One of my early mentors said that her first house, she did like I do, walk through, okay, I'll buy it, I got a discount, I'm good, but there was probably $40,000 worth of termite damage that she didn't see. And she said, from that point on, I will forego every home inspection on a house because I can see it, except the termite and moisture inspection. I will also say that even if you do crawl up underneath of a house and you sort of kind of know what you're looking for, these guys right here will find things in the house that you did not. It's uncanny how a trained termite termite and moisture guy is able to find one little speck of something over here, and he sees that little speck and it's like, okay, I'm going to go over and look a little harder. And you see him tap his screwdriver on the wall. Next thing you know, it sounds a little different. And okay, he's back. It's uncanny what they're finding. So a good termite and moisture inspector is going to save you a lot of time, a lot of hassles, a lot of money. One more quick story before I bring the Newells up. I had a house next door to my rental. This happened this summer, so this is fresh in my mind, and one of the reasons why I asked these guys to come. But these guys had flipped. I got my rental right here. I got a house that got flipped on the left, and I got a house that got flipped on the right. These guys painted the outside of their house a really ugly color. It was a really ugly color. I'm not even gonna say what color it was, because who knows? Somebody might be in the room. I don't know. Maybe nice. But it was kind of an ugly color. I didn't like the way their flip was. The one next door, they did what I thought were some really nice things to the house. This one sold in the first month. This one didn't sell. This one didn't sell. This one got painted on the outside. This one didn't sell. This one didn't sell. And then all of a sudden, I see a little activity next door, but up rolls the Termite and Moisture Company, unloads the truck, about 20 floor joists come rolling out the back, and they spent 2 days doing work up underneath the house. And I guarantee you that the guy that bought that house had no idea that there was any issues underneath the house. You know what that did for me though? I got on my phone and I called these guys and said, come check my house out. Because it's been a while since you've been up underneath, and I don't want that happening to me. So they came and gave me an inspection, and I'm feeling good about what they found. So Terry, Johnny, come on up. Terry, you're going to start, right? So Johnny will be up in a second. Long-term, I'm a long-term customer. I'm trying to think when I moved in, you guys did my very first one when I came back into the area, and we've been using you ever since. So, Michelle? Yep, right. So, thank you very much, everybody. Big round of applause for the Newells. Commonwealth Exterminating. Oh, you need this, don't you?
Is it in an on position?
It's ready to go.
Okay, great.
I think it's ready.
Are you sure it's on?
Yeah, it's.
Can we say hello?
I can hear myself.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alrighty, hi everyone. My name is Terry and I'm with Commonwealth Pest Control. I'm one of the owners. I'm one of the few women-owned pest control companies. There are less than 14% in the nation and less than 2% in Virginia. I do work with my husband, and we're both co-owners. And we've been in business since 1999, so we've been around for a long time, and love what we do, love serving our community, and love giving people information. The initial inspections that we do, like you're just doing that pre-inspection, there's no charge for it. You're kind of at the let's gather information stage. You don't know what you've got. We don't know what you got. So we go out and we do those inspections and then simply present that information in just a basic informational report, and then we only proceed as you direct us. So, and then in addition to pest control, residential and commercial, we also are licensed contractors, so that when we find these things, we also can handle those types of things under structural repairs, dehumidifiers, insulation, anything that's going on under the crawl space. We also do work on the top side. We can do the tile work, take out your bathroom, take out your kitchen, whatever those pesky termites have eaten. So we do a turnkey job. So, and if you just want a second opinion or just information about it, just simply give us a call. All right, if you want to go ahead and give me a slide. There's my family. I'm in business, like I said, with my husband, Johnny, and beside me is my youngest son, Corey. He is a twin, and he does participate a lot in the management side of our business. He's also in the Navy, a naval chaplain, but he grew up doing this, and so even though things are remote now, I can still say, hey, Corey, I need this report. Hey, Corey, I need this. So he's constantly behind the scenes, just kind of like helping me out when I need something. Let's go up the next one. About us, we've been married for almost 45 years. We have 3 children. They're all college graduates. I also went to school and worked getting my degree, so I like the fact that they saw that the work that went into it, that it was worth their while to go forward and try to get that education. I have 2 grandkids, Evie and Jacob. They are my heart. I love them. And I have 2 dogs, Mackenzie and Molly. And just back to the grandkids, I wish I had more grandkids. And if I could talk my husband into it, I would get another dog. So, all right. He's like, no. All right, go ahead with the next one. These are Christmas pictures of everyone. You can see my son up there. He's graduating from
Naval Academy.
Yeah, the Naval Academy. Yeah. So he's busy, but he does help us. All right, go to the next one. Those are the grandkids in this one, and up in the corner, Corey is a twin, so it's a boy-girl twin. So those are my 3 kids. So proud of them, very proud of them. All right, go ahead with another one. My fur babies, the top dog with the white face, that's Molly. She was a rescue in my heart, and then Mackenzie. So she's a little toy Bichon poodle. All right. So you can see we're just regular people. We live here, we work here. We've been here for a very long time. Our family histories go all the way back to Fort Eustis, so we've just really been here a long time. Okay, go ahead. All right, so tonight we are going to head in the direction of what you guys are here to find out about, and that is the termite and moisture ladder, because that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where that report is. So we do want to at least talk about the very, very basics. They're passing out just kind of a packet for you. This is the standard letter. I'm just going to hit on the bare bones information on this one. So it starts out in the office with a phone call, and that's one of you all trying to get that first contact. And when we get that phone call, when I'm training my staff, it sounds very different when we get that phone call because people call it something different. Some people will call in and say, hey, I want to get that letter. I want to get that clear letter. I want to get the T and M. The letter T, the and sign, and the letter M. The termite side and the moisture side, the termite and moisture letter. The name of the report is actually the Wood Destroying Insect Inspection Report, and some people will call and ask for that by name. Some people give me the initials. I want the WDI report. I want the WDII report. And then if you look at the very bottom corner of that report down in the bottom, it says MPMA 33. Some people will call and ask for the MPMA 33 report. They are all asking for the very same thing. They're all asking for this report. It is a legal document. It's not just fluff. We do not have any control over it. It is a national standardized form. It is put together by the mortgage companies and the lenders, and they're the ones who develop it, and then we take classes to become certified in it, and we have to follow the protocols for it and go just like realtors do and re-get our certs and things like that. So there's a lot of training that goes involved in being able to put one of these together. So if you look at the actual first page, okay, this is the slang. This is what's often called the termite side of the letter, the T and the T and M. And people think of termites when they think of this, but it's not the only wood-destroying insect. It's wood borers, it's platypus beetles, it's carpenter ants, it's a variety of things. And so we're required to take a look at all of those things. And then I'm going to fast forward, not this page, but to, it says 1 of 3, but it's really page 2. And if you actually saw it, this is the first page of the report. This is the back side that nobody ever really reads. And this is the M part, the moisture part of the letter. What kind of moisture issues are going on, what kind of moisture damage is going on, so on and so forth. But what I'd like to focus on, if I could, is this back piece, this piece that everybody tends to skip when they're getting their termite and moisture letter. And I just want to look at that very first paragraph, just the very first paragraph, okay? So it tells you what we're looking at. It tells you termites, carpenter ants, wood borers, beetles. So it tells you that it is a variety of types of issues that we're looking at there. And then it also clues in there that it's 90 days. It's good for 90 days from the date of the inspection. So a lot of times people will call and say, well, how long is it good for? It's good for 90 days. And sometimes we will have a realtor call in and they say, we want it within 30 days of close. And usually that's an in-house policy, an in-house preference, as opposed to the legality of the document. But the reality is, if you got your inspection in August and your house didn't sell for some reason, it's good for August, September, October. It's good for 90 days. So we don't have to go back out and look at it again. It's good for 90 days. So just want to look at that.
And that's not business days, it's actual days. 31st, all that's got to be.
Gotcha. All righty. So that is the fast and the furious of the letter, the bare bones. But what I'm going to do is let my partner take you to the meat and potatoes and to the technicalities of it. But I would like to tell you just a little bit about him so you can understand his credibility with the termite and moisture letter. He has served on the state WDI committee. There's those initials, Wood Destroying Insect Committee. It is a committee of 4 members, so he was one of the 4 members for the state committee. This is put together through the VPMA, that's the Virginia Pest Management Association. He also served on the TPCA Board of Directors, that's the Tidewater Pest Control Association Board of Directors, and various other TPCA committees and boards. He's also presented numerous classes for VPMA, the Virginia, for
VPAR.
VPAR, I'm trying to put the wrong initials down here, and
Hurrah.
Hurrah. Yeah, VPAR and Hurrah. Please help me welcome my partner in crime, partner for life, Johnny Newell. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the intro, Terry. How you guys doing tonight? That's good.
Take this.
Put my timer on here so I don't talk too long. Y'all want to go home? Anyway, you know, Terry's talking about this. You can go to the next slide. The termite moisture letter. You know, the heart of it, you've got sections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you've got the WDO letter, which is the moisture letter she was talking about. And of course, there's the back side of this thing, which actually kind of helps you define some of the things that are there for both the seller, the real estate agent, the property manager, if he's trying to sell it for their seller, the buyer. There's buyer information on here also that will help them in understanding what this thing's all about, okay? So it's really important to kind of point that out and say, hey, take a minute to read each one of those paragraphs. They're very important, okay? You know, as far as when you get to the heart of the letter, the biggest part is if you go to section 2, okay? Everybody's like, well, did you see any active termites? First thing they're going to come up with, live termites. Okay, well, you know, there's a lot more on there. If you look, the first one is, you know, no visible, then there's visible evidence. Not visible termites, but visible evidence. Okay, and so they say live insects. Well, if you got live insects, no matter what, you need a treatment. Okay? And if you've got bait systems in place, sometimes those get controversial, like you got live termites under the house, but the bait system's around the outside of the house. What are you going to do? Okay? I say treat it with a liquid treatment. Some people, I've seen some companies go in and put the bait stations underneath there. Takes a while to get them, but anyway, and then there's the, the dead insects, insect parts, exit holes, tunnels from termites. They actually regurgitate dirt. Sorry about your dinner. Anyway, and they build these tunnels and they live inside of them. They have no eyes. They can't see. They don't see light. So they like it dark, okay? But when they do come out and swarm, they're looking for light so they can come out and find each other. Those are reproductives. That means you're going to have another colony, at least one, if not 4 or 5, from that one swarm. And they're going to go down in different places in the ground. They're going to knock each other off, so you're going to see a bunch of dead ones. You're going to see wings laying around. But that's what a swarm does. And I'm going to take y'all through that in a minute. Now you see some of these ugly pictures up here. That thing right there, that's a stalactite. And if you notice the one on the far right, the long one, it's almost made it to the ground. And you'll see another picture later on, once it makes it to the ground, that makes a super highway. And I thought you could see it in this picture, but anyway, usually you'll see the dirt tunnels on the wall. And if you look on the top right corner, that's actually inside a house on a slab. They don't always see it like that. Usually they're just inside underneath the baseboard. I've even seen them between the paint and the paper, okay, where they'll eat between the paper and they won't eat the rock, the sheet rock, or the paint. And you'll see this bubbly thing and you'll touch it. You pull it back, it's a light brown underneath it, okay? And then you see these tunnels that come out and you're starting to make them. You can see those in crawl spaces that same way. And I could tell you all kinds of interesting stories about mathematical things that they found that they do and all kinds of stuff like that. But anyway, if you look down the bottom right, those are actual termites back and forth in those crevices. You'd think that piece of wood's pretty much ate. Well, not really. They're still mining it and they're still going at it. That was opened up so you could see what was inside. Again, if that was open like that normally, they would have covered every single one of those galleys up with dirt. Okay? You can go on the next slide. And so anyway, subterranean termites can come up in cracks and crevices as little as 1/64 of an inch. Here's that stalactite. They made one all the way to the ground. If you look at all the little pieces of stalactites, those are all where they tried to make it to the ground. They didn't make it. Most of the time, 95% of the time, you're going to see termites. They're going to be going up the wall, like that one right there on the back wall. I pointed out for you. That right there. And then if you look at this one, that's a huge tunnel. That's probably close to the size of my wrist at the very bottom. And, those tunnels, people don't know what that is. They don't see live insects. They don't see anything but a piece of dirt. Maybe they think it's dirt daubers. Maybe they thought it was from construction when they built the house. No. And if there's no termites in it, doesn't mean that you don't have termites, because they build tunnels and they'll abandon those tunnels for a better way, like a super highway I was talking about. That might be up inside the center of the cinder block where you never even see them. That could be in between the brick and the block where you never see them. Okay? That could be in between. I've seen them where they put this new, I don't know if you, I'm sure some of y'all been around a while, where they put that plastic up on the side of the wall and you can't see nothing. Okay, that makes it to where the exterminator, some companies won't even put a letter on that, but it makes it to where he can't see. Now, I was actually on the board of directors when we made a committee up to go to get state law changed for codes of compliance. That's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And we got it changed for new homes only. We couldn't get it done on post homes, unfortunately. But now that they put a 3-inch inspection line at the bottom of the foundation and a 3-inch inspection above. So if they want to put that plastic on the wall, have at it, but you got to leave an inspection area. So the only problem with it is termites, sometimes they'll go up inside the block. They'll come out for just a second where you see the mortar. They'll come out like a little crack or a hole. They'll go in and they'll go right back in the block and go up inside. So that's how termites do. That's just a little bit of the nature. You get the next slide. Anyway, And back to the letter, you know, we've got the moisture portion of the letter, and we're going to get that in a minute. That's a swarmer up in the top right corner. That could be a queen or a king, and it's going to drop its wings, and then you'll see right after this slide, you're going to see a mom with a big long sack on her. But then you see the little things that look like maggots. That's not maggots, those are termites. They have a head and an abdomen, if you notice. There's no real thorax in there. And if you see the one with the pinchers, there's one for every 10 workers. There's a soldier. And what he does, have you ever seen the movie Ant, where the termites killed all the ants? They came back. Well, the termites really get eaten more than the ants do. The ants will do worse damage on termites. But those soldiers is their only defense, and they'll take them and cut them in half. That's the only way they can defend themselves from the ants. But the ants will actually eat the termite. They'll pick them up, carry them off. Anyway, this is T111. It looks like moisture, but you can see there's dirt in it. It's not a great picture, but anyway, you can see up in here, looks like dirt. It's up in the T111. It's like a plywood board. You know, you see those little lines in between them. All right, next slide. So this next slide is going to be about where you see the termites and you see the different phases they go through. And these are the nymphs, and they actually feed the termites. There's some more I can't say the word. But anyway, been a while. But they're going to actually trade food back and forth to the termites. The termites will bring the wood down to them, give them to the nymphs. The nymphs actually have a digestive protozoan in their belly, which digests the wood, and then they give the termite the nutrient from it. So they're very dependent on each other. That queen that you see up there with that big sack, she can live 25 to 30 years. The whole colony, that they usually get to a full-grown colony, takes about 3 to 5 years. That's when they get to be about 5 million termites. And at 5 million termites, they can do $2,000 worth of damage to a house in a year. Old school, some of you guys in the back, I know y'all are old school. You ever heard of it where they had a termite colony per acre? 1 colony per acre? Y'all ever remember hearing that? Well, some of the old school, that's like a lot of people think. No longer, okay? They've done DNA tests. North Carolina did it at university. And they went in and they found that out of 12 houses, 8 of them had 5 colonies or more in every house that had active termites. 2 of those houses had over 20 colonies. And one of the houses actually had 32 colonies. Okay? So that gives you an idea. Now imagine 32 times 2,000. I feel sorry for that homeowner. So anyway, you know, that's a lot of damage per year. So you put off a termite treatment for a year, I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. You know, you go, oh, well, I'll wait till I get to the money. No, get it done right away. Okay? Should be a priority, I would say. Anyway, next slide. And you can see this, while he's changing it, you see the ones with the wings, that's a king and a queen. Now, if you look here, you think we're not in the red zone. Guess what? All of Hampton Roads is the 4th worst area in the United States for subterranean termites per square mile. In other words, where you have heavy populations, Texas, California, Florida, all by water. We're surrounded by water on 3 sides. We got the ocean, we got the bay, we got rivers, we got lakes. Our soil is rich black soil, not that orange clay stuff. That's very easy for termites to tunnel back and forth through. And because they can go in between there, they can go as far as 12 feet below the ground level to stay away from the cold winters, to be able to protect themselves. So that's why they're so prevalent in this area. We have more damage, you can go to the next slide, than moisture in this area. And moisture does more damage than termites. You know, this slide's going to tell you about 5 billion in termites. I think that's an old number. But anyway, and there's 17 billion in moisture damage across the United States. And I think that number's going up a little bit too. Am I on the wrong slide?
Go one more.
Yeah, go one more and we'll come back to that one. That's what I was talking about. No? Okay.
That is moisture damage.
All right, I don't know. I thought it was at the top of that one that had words. Go back one more, I'm sorry. All right, well, let's just talk about this one. Go back, I'm sorry, I must have mixed up my head. Swarmers, mud tubes, those are all signs of termites. Mud and concrete construction joints. You got a garage and you want to put like a driveway comes up to it. You got a little expansion joint there, a little place that's like dirt or wood that goes across there, okay? And you take a 2x4 and you put it right on top of it and you build your frame up, okay? And that's what contractors do every time. And you know what? That is just like putting termite baits on top of it, because those termites will taste the flavor of that wood. A little bit of water gets in there, even if it's pressure treated, and they'll go down and they'll find it. They'll go around pressure treated wood. And once wood's been there long enough, it's got enough moisture in it, the pressure treated, this will wear out. They'll eat that too. They'll eat cedar. Don't believe it, they say they don't. They'll eat wood with tar on it. They go around it, in between it. All they need is a crack or crevice, 1/64 of an inch. All right, and as far as wood fencing, firewood, wood structures, all that's a lot of pressure treated wood, but they'll get in it anyway. Wood to ground, wood directly on the ground up against the house. That's where you get a lot of this type stuff. Wood in your landscape, and then of course wood damage is what we're all about. So you can go to the next slide. Wood damage can come from many things, not just termites, but it can also come from moisture. And if you look at this slide, that's a mixture of termites and moisture. That's the worst thing you can have. But I've had one where it's moisture, this guy says too much water underneath there. There was one of those stalactite tunnels coming right up out of the water into the bathroom, eating up the whole thing, along with all the moisture damage that was coming through there. That bathroom was falling through the floor. And the guy said, oh, that can't happen. I'm like, yeah, right. I can show you an island where the lighthouse, where they came up through that too and ate the lighthouse. Anyway, you look over here, this is moisture. It slides the coloring on it so, but you can see black rot, you see the black wood, and so that's black rot. Over here you can see white rot, where the white is getting up into the wood. And you see this same thing out in the woods. In wood you'll say, oh, that's dry rot. Well, actually it's wood decay fungi, okay? And there's different types of fungi. There's different types of molds. Do we call this mold? Never, not in my business. It's a cousin of it, but we don't call it that. Does it mold happen under the houses? Yes. Do we treat mold? No. Does our treatment treat against mold? Probably does, but we don't claim it. However, do we go in and put dehumidifiers underneath there? Mold can't live, fungus can't live without moisture. Why? Because the moisture is in the plant, and a plant can't live without moisture, okay? Well, did you know fungus is a plant? Wood decay fungi is actually a plant, and you'll see like little lines going through the woods. And there's all kinds, I think it's like 12, 15 different types, maybe 20 at the most, different types of molds and funguses. And so there's some that will actually get their moisture from the other side of the house, and they'll run this one long string across that's like a fuzzy, nasty thing. It goes down and gets in the water. It actually pumps it across the other side of the house. And you're like, there's no water over there. How's it doing that? Pumping it. A plant doing that. It's amazing. Okay? So anyway, next slide. The wood decay fungi, again, does more damage in this area than termites. And there it is, $17 billion in damage for moisture, $5 billion for termites. And like I said, I think those numbers are low now. It's gone up. Those numbers are probably 30 years old. I remember seeing them 30 years ago. We got a lot more houses out there now. Anyway, standing water longer than 48 hours, that's when, you're just like in your laundry. What happens in your laundry? You smell it, you start smelling moldy. You're like 48 hours later. Always dry your clothes within 48 hours or you'll be sorry. You start getting black stuff, little spots all over your clothes. What is that? Okay? So this fungus operates the same way. If you get water, they say, oh, I got water, it dries out after it rains. Crawl space gets full of water, and you're like, it's just going to go away in about a week, it'll be all right. Yeah, in a week, how much moisture has turned into wood decay fungi? And then what happens with fungi? First 10 years, no big deal. It's been doing it for the last 10 years, and it's, I didn't pay attention to it. I haven't gone on there for another 10 years. It's 20 years later, and you go underneath there, and it's full of damage. Why? Because wood decay fungi is like a snowball. The longer you have it, the faster it grows. So when somebody says you got a little bit of damage this year, you could have a lot more next year. Not just a little that took 10 years to get there or 20 years, okay? Because now it's in full-flown damage mode, and that's what's going to happen. Okay, go on to the next slide. And here you can see where the floor is falling through. That's wood decay fungi. This is all from, you can see the insulation was hiding some of this stuff. You pulled it down and lo and behold. Well, on one of these, we're not required to move the insulation out of the way, okay? We look in certain places that are usually happening. Not all companies even do that. They'll just shine a line up there. You got to watch out for that guy that passes every house because he, one, probably has no construction knowledge because on here it says that you don't have to. And in this area, you really need to, okay? And two is that he's not into doing repairs, so he doesn't know anything about them. He doesn't even know what they look like, okay? He only knows what a termite tube is, an exit hole from powder post beetles or wood borers, all those kind of things. So when you're dealing with some guy that passes every house, lawsuit waiting to happen. I had one at $85,000. $85,000. And it was right over here in Smithfield, across the street from that nice, there's a nice section, then a not as nice section in Gatlin Point. It was in the not as nice section. $85,000. And how old is Gatlin Point? Built back in the 1990s. You know, and that was, I found that damage early 2000s. Anyway, and oh, by the way, the realtor and who's the guy over the realtor? The broker. They both knew about it. The seller knew about it, and the exterminator that missed it knew about it, well, was involved in it. So they gave him 25% for, you know, malpractice type thing. There is no warranty on it, but they did get him for malpractice. And the rest of them, it was like 25% for the seller who got away with a lot there. But the realtor ended up 25% each. That's 50%. You guys selling property as a seller and as a realtor, scary stuff. Next one. Okay, you got control, elimination of water. Locate it and eliminate it. Promote rapid dry conditions to facilitate rot. Okay, under the house, you know, you got to have ventilation, you got to have moisture barrier on the ground, period. I don't care if it's dry as a desert under there. Every house produces moisture. So many quarts or pints a day. I think it's like something like anywhere from 11 to 20 pints a day. Okay? And so if you've got it all sealed up, some people are telling you, oh, block all the vents off and put plastic in there, and you don't have a dehumidifier to absorb that moisture out of there, guess what? It ain't gonna work. Excessive moisture needs to be a system that remove it. Sump pumps, dehumidifiers, French drains, and a treatment can all help, okay? A treatment can help if you don't have to get rid of the source, like with a sump pump or dehumidifier. But if you don't get rid of the source, you can't just treat it and think it's going to go away. Again, it's a plant. If I took that fungus treatment and I spray your grass, it's going to turn brown. It's going to look like it's dead. But over time, the rain's going to wash it off and it's going to come back. The same thing happens with humidity. Over time, it soaks into the wood and removes the wood decay fungi. Removes the borates that are in that wood that usually goes about 3/4 of an inch through it, okay, on each side. And so then that actually gets removed and the grass or the wood decay fungi will grow back. So you're not doing nothing. You're wasting your money. Okay, and next slide. Okay, inside the house, plumbing leaks, ventilation, bathroom, kitchen, attic, roof leaks. Outside the house, seal the envelope with paint, caulk, roof, flashing gutters. All these are things that are great to do. This one right here, seal the envelope with paint and caulk. How many times I've seen somebody go in and caulk it up because they got rotten damage or they put wood putty in there and they think that that's going to seal the envelope, so to speak. It's not. It's going to leak through it. It's going to get worse. You're going to come back a year later and it's going to be 10 times worse, okay? Sealing up and painting is a great idea as long as it's built right and there's no problems. But if there's a problem, you might need to do a little more work than that. Have a professional look at it and figure out what to do. I've seen times where we had to rubberize stuff just to keep the water out. Okay, next slide. These are carpenter ants. This is another wood destroying insect. It is on this form, okay? Carpenter ants, next slide. And you can tell these guys, if you look at their head, it's heart-shaped right there. And they've got little hairs on their butts, and you have to identify them by their head, their thorax, and their abdomen. And so there's different characteristics you look for. But they grow as the colony grows. You can go to the next slide. They grow as the colony grows. So the more carpenter ants you have, the bigger the damage is. They only eat out what they're doing to live in their home. So you might have this little area that they've eaten, but years later, it could be as big as this room because they multiply pretty quickly. And I forgot to show you in that last slide, but there was body parts over there on the bottom where they throw out the body parts. That's another sign you've got carpenter ants. So if you haven't had a treatment, you're going to need one. Okay, yeah, right up there at the top right on the dirt. You see the little pieces of dirt, body parts. Okay, back to the next slide. These are actually carpenter bees. You see this black spot right here? It's hard to see maybe on this picture, but there's a black spot right there. That's how you ID carpenter bees, 1. 2 is they make exit holes, kind of like that one that's right there. They can be jagged. That one over to the right's a little more like it. And they actually turn left. They lay exactly 5 eggs. And the first egg is the last one to hatch. Isn't that crazy? The last egg is laid is the first one to hatch. And mom leaves a little pollen mill in there, and they have to drill their way through to get out. And if they don't have enough pollen in there, they'll die, okay? Well, woodpeckers, if you look up there at the top right, that's what they do. They come in and they want to eat those little eggs, that larva. So that's why they go at it. But guess what? That ain't gonna get rid of your carpenter bees. Carpenter bees like to come to the same areas and lay eggs in the same place every year. So you'll see them both in the spring and the fall. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down for a minute. Old knees are giving me a little trouble today. All right, next one. Okay, this is powder post beetles. You see all the exit holes? These are little pinholes. Those holes are really about, if you take a pencil with the lead in it and you put it in there, you're not gonna get the pencil to go all the way in before it gets to the regular size of a number 2 pencil. So it's very, very tiny. If you look in the top right corner, that's a powder post beetle. And he's about as big, just slightly bigger than that pencil lead. Not the pencil with the wood, but the lead. That's how tiny. Very few exterminators have ever seen them. I've seen them, but they're very, very few and far between. You see that powder? Usually that's yellow. This is not a great picture on this wall, I don't know. Anyway, but that's usually yellow, and that's frass coming out of the hole. So a lot of times you'll see this frass. Go down below, that's wood board damage. Old house wood boards can be in the wood for 20 years. And then what happens is the wood boars come out and they lay eggs and they mate with other wood boars and then they go back in. But in the meantime, they do all this damage while they're boars, like they're little larvas. And some of you guys split wood, you've seen them in there. They're yellow and ugly and big. And they could be as big as a big old roach. Okay, next slide. Okay, termite moisture letter, next slide. That's what it's all about when you're buying and selling a house. You got to worry about this letter. This letter is done by not the state of Virginia. This is done by the federal government. HUD got together with the National Pest Management Association and they came up with this letter. Now you hear the 30-day thing Terry was talking about a while ago? That was how long a letter used to be up until 1995. So that's really old school. They changed it to 90 days. And they've changed this letter about 4 times since then. Okay, and that's pretty much it, I think. Next slide.
Real quick, are those letters required for every real estate transaction?
On a cash deal, the cash buyer can decide not to, but I strongly recommend that they get it.
Yeah, that was my point. A cash deal, they're not required. They're generally required by the lender, but if you're using your own cash, It's not a required.
And I'm not sure
It's not a
about
required inspection, and the letter is not required.
the soft money guys. If they're smart, they'll make sure you get it.
Right.
The hard money guys, every time they're going to make sure you got it. So you know you got to deal with what you got to deal with. And in this area, they're going to require moisture. You go up to Richmond, they don't require moisture. Okay, so don't think that you won't, just because you didn't do it there, don't have to do it here. Okay, because it is just the underwriters on these mortgages and all that, they're going to come in and say, no, I want this. It may not even be on your contract. They're going to say, no, I need this on there. And I've seen closings get held up over it. Go ahead, next slide.
Not required, but a very, very, very
Okay.
good thing to have.
Where all do we inspect? We inspect inside the house, outside the house, underneath the house, in the garage, under structures. We'll go in the attics if the attics are accessible. It's an industry standard in this area that we don't carry ladders on our vehicles. However, if we do, and we choose to, we can go up in your attic. A lot of times, attics will be, buyer beware, attics are closed off and you can't get in them. Okay? Ain't no telling what's in there. I found a house one time, 5 different companies went in, nobody could find the termites. I went in the attic right above the bathroom where all the termites were coming out the side of the tub, and there, lo and behold, was a bunch of damage on the rafters up in the attic. Termite mud tubes all over them, and not one company went up there to look. Okay, so it can happen. So investors, watch out. Next slide. All right, treatment warnings, 90-day clearance. This is where Terry's going to come in. But just remember that this letter is not a warranty. Tell your clients that, okay? But they're going to offer like treatment warranties. It's called a pickup, okay? Some companies offer this, we do, okay? And it's something that's really great to have. If your client will sign up on it, tell them the next time you go to sell the house, you most likely won't have problems. But every house in this area, if you don't have termites, it's a matter of time of when you're going to get them, unless it's been treated properly. Courtesy visits, auto transfers, and remember those bait stations, they're only good as if you pay the company every 3 months. It's like the mob. If you don't pay them, you got no protection. There's nothing but wood in them. It's
Yeah.
wood product. There's nothing to kill them. They come out, take the wood product out, and put something in there to kill the termites. And that's only on one station. I've seen them chase them around the house, chase them around a dorm. They did it, and they did a study on it. And that's what I asked the guy, because he was working for the bait company. I said, dang. I said, they got no protection. What is that? You know, they're just chasing the termites around the building. And 3 years later, they had the termites come right back, those same tunnels, after they got rid of them, because he was bragging he got rid of them. And there was no liquid treatment, no nothing done, so there was nothing there to protect them. And they stopped checking the bait stations.
So what liquid treatments do you recommend?
Termidor is the #1 product out on the market. There is a generic of Termidor called Taurus. We use that, so it makes it cheaper. Termidor is high dollar, okay? And Taurus drops it quite a few percentage points. Premise, Dominion, 2L are the next 2 best products. Out of all the government trials, the Termidor has not failed in about 25 years.
Yeah, good
Okay?
stuff.
And I remember I was the very first company in this area to be certified for Termidor
Yes.
in 2000, 1999 to 2000, somewhere in there. And I actually introduced it to other companies because I didn't want to be competing with Premise because it was a lot cheaper. And Termidor was so much better. And Premise had failed after 12 years. Okay? So that gives you an idea. Termidor at least twice as long, if not more. And it's a lot of people think it's as good or better than Chloridane, and yet it doesn't smell. It's not going to give you health problems like Chloridane did, and all kinds of great things like that. So, Terry, you want to finish up on that?
Yeah, is there one more slide? Yes.
There you go. That's your part.
Okay. All right, you're playing musical people. We do have lots of variety of programs for realtors and for property managers. We give 20% off treatments, 10% off repairs. We'll do a letter for free up to $50. As we go out toward, I don't know, King and Queen County, or further out, the cost of the letter does go up a little bit. We offer for property managers, a lot of times you have a move-in or move-out spray. We'll do them for like $65. And here's where where your interest is: $75 for termite warranties. If you have a property manager and you have 3 to 5 properties and you're trying to get them under a warranty, we'll do a bulk rate of $75. It's much higher for the general public. So we do have a special menu actually for realtors and for property managers. Just ask for it.
And PREIA members,
Or
correct?
identify yourself as a property manager or realtors for those discounts. But I do want to bring it back to the page 2 of the letter, back to that very same paragraph. And the very last line says, here we go. This shall not be construed as a 90-day warranty. Remember, the letter was good for 90 days, but it's, ta-da, not a warranty. There is no warranty express or implied. So when you are getting ready to buy or purchase, rent, renovate, flip, whatever it is you need, if you go to the very, 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 very back of your packet, there's another document, and it says Wood Destroying Organism Control Agreement. You want to find out whether it's our company, another company, does that house have a warranty? Remember, the letter, the T&M, the WDI, is not a warranty. You want to get your warranty. I actually had a realtor who was relatively seasoned call me, and they said, oh, well, we've got a letter. Isn't that a warranty? I was like, no, ma'am, it's not. Make sure you actually get a warranty. And then if you go back a slide. So sorry, Scott. Oh, yeah, auto transfers. So what happens is a lot of times when you're selling the house, the seller has a warranty, and or they got the house treated, and so the warranty is on that house, that property. And so some companies will charge for you to transfer the name on the warranty from the seller who's leaving. They're important, but they're leaving, and the incoming buyer has to pay a fee to get the warranty transferred to their name. We do not do that. The warranty is legally on that property, that address, regardless who lives there. So we don't charge to transfer it from the seller's name to the buyer's name. But what you want to do is make sure your client calls and says, please put the warranty in my name. So you just definitely want to take care of that. So a lot of opportunities for realtors and our property managers.
There's a company out there, some very big, all over the country, world, whatever. I won't say any names. However, when they sell the house, and they've only done a liquid treatment on that house, they're going to call that buyer up and say, oh, you're going to have to pay for a bait station, and we'll go ahead and start you on a bait station warranty. That's the only way you'll be able to continue your termite warranty with us.
Yeah. We actually do not promote bait stations. It's literally putting a popsicle stick in the ground and going, yep, your house is protected. And so for the liability reasons, we do not provide that service. But we do provide liquids, the liquid treatments. Termidor, I can tell you, just administratively, because I handle the office end, not only is Termidor a wonderful, wonderful product, when it's used, we have to go online to their website, register that property, and then they track it. And if anything pops up again, they believe in their product so much, Termidor, the corporation, will pay for that client's treatment. And I think when they originally came out, because it was new, Termidor, the corporation, provided a 1-year warranty. Then they went to 3 years, then they went to 5 years, and then went to 10 years. It is a wonderful, wonderful product. It really does do what it says it will do. It is a plant-based product, earth-friendly, there's no smell to it, and termites, like ants, will groom themselves, and because they can't smell it or taste it and they don't know it's there, they walk through it, they take it back to the colony, and it goes through the colony and kills the colony, and that's why it's effective. And so that study he was talking about was presented to us by Dr. Deanie Miller. She's the head of the department of up there at Virginia Tech for pest control, yes, etymology, yes. And so what she did is she had students go around the building and take soil samples, and then they took the DNA of what they were looking at and identified, 20 plus colonies or whatever. So the old school thought is, I've got a popsicle stick surrounding the building in these bait stations, and you've got 20 plus colonies, your property is not protected. That was the takeaway. And so therefore, we do not recommend bait stations. But all right, my name is Terry with Commonwealth Pest Control. If anybody has questions, okay, go ahead.
For a rental property that doesn't have any inspection for termites or any treatment at this point, what are the steps that you would recommend to
Sure. First step is a phone call. What we do is we set up an appointment. We go out. We do what is called an inspect and advise. We inspect and advise you of what we're seeing. We put together a report for you. If there's nothing going on and we feel like we are able to issue that warranty, just because we go out there and there's nothing to indicate that you have any issues, then they can pick up, it's called a pickup. We're picking up the warranty without doing a liquid treatment. Then they can put it under a warranty. But if they do find something, you know, and we're not looking to, oh yes, we want to find something, but if we do, it's in our best interest to tell you, and that's what we do. We inform you, and then we tell you what it is and how much it's going to cost, and then we let you make that decision. And then we can provide that information with a variety of chemicals, and you know, the level of cost is something, you know, for you to decide. Very first thing though is that phone call, and there's no charge for that inspection. Again, you're simply I'm gathering information, you know, and we got boots on the ground. You need a man to physically crawl it. It's not something we can do over the phone. Matter of fact, when we have the warranty, and it's protection to your house. A lot of times you have other types of protection, like, you know, protection for your car, and you write the check and you mail it out, right? Well, homeowners will mail us the check for their warranty, and they'll say, oh, and you want to do what? And I'll say, I want to do an annual inspection. If there's something developing, I want to catch it small. I want to catch it early, like going to the dentist. And I can't tell that with just you writing a check. I have to have a man go crawl your house, go look in your garage, go look at your expansion joints, because we're dealing with nature. And so that's why we have a physical inspection. So when to answer your question, when you want that, it's a phone call. There's no charge. We're just going to go look, tell you what we see, and then you tell us how to move forward. If you have a number of properties, remember that bulk rate does reduce your annual fee on all your properties across the board. So we have some companies that like just get them under warranty. I like that bulk rate. It's much less than, you know, doing it as a private individual.
There is, let me add one more thing to that.
Sorry.
There are qualifications that we put on that, like previous treatments, what was used, and then also how old the house is, the age, and things like that. Now, if we do want like a minimal treatment, we're not seeing any live termites or anything like that, we can do what's called a perimeter plus. And we use Termidor all the way around the property, and then in some other hot spot areas as well, underneath the house, around piers, up against the garage, things like that, and from the crawl space. But anyway, once we've done that perimeter plus treatment, that's about half the price of a full treatment, if not less. And so that gives you something there to actually protect you from the termites, and then we put a warranty on it. But rather, a lot of companies will go out and just do a full treatment. They're going to offer you, you know, they're going to tell you to pay a bunch of money, and then, you know, we can come in and do it for a lot less.
Yeah. Gentleman in the back, you were next, guy.
So I know you all specialize in like termites.
Say it again.
So I know you all specialize in like the termites and pests, but we were talking about like the moisture. So like if you all come and do an inspection for like moisture, do you also give like evaluations as to how to keep down the moisture or what to do?
Yes, the same inspection when our guys go out, they're looking for the termite side, they're looking for the moisture side, and anything in between. So even though, for example, when we go out and we do the warranty, and say you have a termite warranty, and that's what the warranty's on, termite protection, it's in our best interest and our client's best interest. We go under there, we're like, wow, you have a bathroom leak. So they're gonna look for everything. They're gonna tell you anything and everything they see, so that you are, as the client, aware of, you know, moisture is a conducive, you know, thing that's going to provide moisture for termites to grow and develop. So they're going to look for everything top to bottom. So we describe it as a well house visit, if you will. And for people who don't have a warranty, we say just call and get a well house visit. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, because who wants to crawl under a house? I mean, I'm going to call him.
Yeah, and I'm
not going under.
I'm going to add to that too. Stu and I were having a conversation earlier, and you know, there was a house where all the insulation was up, nobody could see anything going on, and there was a dehumidifier was going to be put underneath there and everything. But anyway, the insulation was later pulled out, and all of a sudden you see subfloor damage. Subfloor was delaminated, moisture was going up to the subfloor, and it couldn't get it goes up, so it couldn't get past the linoleum, and so it caused it to delaminate and fall apart, and so that subfloor needed to be replaced. So not always is everything going to be like, if we go into there and see 100%, nothing's 100%, but we're going to look in the hot spots, we're going to look in areas where we think that we see it all the time, and we're going to try to tell you about it. I had one time where it was a what do you call it, a drive-it house, you know, and we went around and this is the builder that actually built all these houses. I won't tell you his name, but I went to high school with him. Anyway, Stu knows probably what I'm talking about. But anyway, so, you know, went around every window on his house, every doorway was leaking from this drive-it that was leaking down. And termites and moisture love drive-it houses.
Yeah. Questions? I know there was somebody here. Go ahead.
So I know that you mentioned something about ants as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you all treat, is it only a termite treatment, or are you treating for other insects and bugs and things of that nature?
Well, if you think about when I'm training my young ladies in the office to try to answer a call or a phone question like that, we literally try to help people see what we do in two different ways. There are spiders, ants, crickets, oh my, they're icky, but they don't eat your house. That's pest control. And then there are the wood destroying things that will eat your house, all these things that we have been talking about. So we have a pest control line of services, spiders, ants, crickets, oh my. We do general pests, and then we also handle things that are wood destroying. Now, will the same chemical for a termite work for an ant? It is labeled for an ant, isn't it, John?
Yeah, but we use it in a different way. We don't spray the same method. So you're not going to get it to the ants unless they happen to go down in there. And usually they're going after the termites. They'll get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So usually when we treat for ants with Termidor, it's around the outside perimeter. We're going around doors and windows and things like that, 5 foot up, 5 foot out. But we're not allowed to use it inside a house.
To use it outside.
So Termidor will kill the ants, and it will kill them the same way it does a termite. But when the ants, the only time we usually see the termite treatment working on them is if they go down into the ground where we put it at, or they go down after the termites and try to eat the termites.
Yeah.
So would that be one inspection? Like let's say I called you and I said I want you all to check for termites, but I also have water bugs.
We'll look at all of it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Look at all of it. Next, anybody else? Good.
So when they build the house, they have to do a termite treatment.
Yes, ma'am.
How long after that should you retreat, or does it even need a retreat?
That's a fantastic question. Let me answer that one first. Well, pre-treat department is something that we take care of. And so what happens is when a builder comes in and they are treating the soil, they're trying to build a house and make money on it. So right off the bat, builders will probably choose the least expensive, the least chemical. If you had a range of types of chemicals, and Termidor is at the top of the list in terms of what I would put under my house, they probably use the cheapest. And so the builder's warranty will last for a year. And then after that, there is no warranty. So that's why you want to make sure that if you have new construction, you are not safe. You're actually very vulnerable because they use something that probably wasn't the best product, and the limit on it is like a year. So I would definitely look at getting an extended warranty or getting a booster treatment.
What I wanted to throw out there, some of the cheaper treatments are borates.
Yeah.
Borates, they spray the wood up 2 foot, up, down, around from the foundation. They spray it on the wall. But borates, if the termites ingest it, they're not gonna be able to digest. But if they go on the other side of that wood where they didn't treat, which it only penetrates 3/4 of an inch, so if they go on the other side of the wood, the termites are going to go right up into the house. And they've had massive neighborhoods where all of them had termites. They've had bait stations where they put them out, and the homeowner doesn't pick up on the bait station warranty, and they immediately got termites. There was a big lawsuit because back when it was, I forget the vice president that ran for president against G.W. Bush Jr., but he was a big green guy, and he's the one that pushed the bait stations right on through the system without properly testing them, and so now we still have them.
Yeah.
And
I'm
there's
sorry,
been
you had an
massive
additional
lawsuits
question.
over it.
All right, go ahead.
So if it's just regular house and you've done your standard treatment, how long after? Is this like every few years, every single year?
When does it wear off? Yes. Chemicals on, you can have your warranty, but your chemicals are going to start breaking down about 10 years. So let's say, for example, you inherit a house and the homeowner had a warranty on it and they pay their annual fee year after year after year. Let's say it got treated. You want to ask, when did it get treated? I have some houses that got treated in 2003, because remember, we've been open since 1999. And so when the guys are going out doing the annual inspection and there's a warranty, while I have a warranty on it, we will talk to the client, to the customer, to the homeowner, and educate them, saying, you know, your house was treated in 2003 and they used XYZ chemical and it's breaking down. So my recommendation to you is a booster. If you haven't had a liquid treatment in that 5 to 10 year range, you probably need at least a booster. And so that's one of the reasons why when we're doing the actual legality of that termite letter, that legal document, that's why they're looking for evidence that you have it under warranty, or that it's had a liquid treatment in the last 5 years. And that's why they put those parameters there. So a lot of times there's a lot of angst. Oh, do I have to? What do you mean you want me to prove that it had a liquid treatment in the last 5 years? The realtor's looking at liability and I'm looking at liability because the chemical breaks down. So 5 years, 5 to 10 is your window. You want to ask, when was it treated? Not just if you have a warranty, when was it treated? Great question.
When and what?
Great question. A lot of great questions, guys. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you so much. Again, I'm Terry with Commonwealth Pest Control. There's a business card on everybody's packet. Our cardinal rule is we treat you right. If you have any questions afterwards, a lot of times you're thinking of a question later on, we're certainly happy to assist or answer those questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.